Welcome back to the Artisan Rooms YouTube channel, here with your artisans Michael and Chris.
What's up?
And he is behind the camera operating it as usual.
Oh yeah.
Well, we had a great opportunity to work in a really old, beautiful home in Columbus, Ohio that had a wallpaper that needed some restoration help. And we wanted to show it to you because it's pretty special. The wallpaper was actually hung here around the 1920s, but the company that made the wallpaper, Zuber, spelled Z-U-B-E-R, was actually founded in 1797. And every single color you see in a hand block printed Zuber paper has to be done with a hand carved block of wood, and then the paint is then laid on the block of wood and then pressed into the paper. And if you take a good look at this mural, they'll call it a panoramic scenic, as it's known. This particular one is called El Dorado, and it's my favorite. And there are some other ones that are also really nice. One is also called The Scenes of America, and it was actually done of all of the, Boston Harbor, some different, the National Bridge, the Natural Bridge. There's beautiful scenes in the United States that are depicted in this, and that paper, one of the prints of that actually hangs in the White House, in the room where they, the reception area for all the dignitaries. And the person who actually got it for the White House was Jackie O. And I think she rescued it from another house and then brought it there. Now we have some experience restoring Zubers, and in this situation we were brought in because there was water damage. There was cracked areas in the mural, and there was areas where the plaster behind the mural had cracked, and there was separation between the mural and the wall, and all of those things had to be dealt with. But one of the neat things that we found is that this had been restored probably quite a few times since the 1920s, when there were various problems with the paper. One of the things I wanted to show you was that since this had been restored several times, someone actually polyurethaned over the wallpaper. And this is one of the first times I've ever seen that. And I wanted to take a look and have you see this up close. If I move this sconce, just so, you can actually see the original color showing up right there. Since it's been polyurethaned, the colors have gotten a little darker, a little more amberish, but I want to show you how delicate this is. I'm wetting my finger and I'm rubbing. This is what a Zuber really does. See, it'll come right off on your finger. You really can't get water on a Zuber, but since this has been polyurethaned, you can. So we actually had to cut out all the damaged areas in this mural, and we fixed them with plaster. We sanded them all out, feathered them out. We did a color match to the pieces I cut out. We brought that blue back down. Now, Zubers typically go from a yellowish orange color, and they fade up gradually into blue. That's very hard to do without an airbrush, and sometimes you have to utilize an airbrush to do those fixes. But since this had been restored a few times, artists in the past had done a graphic transition from the lighter blue to a darker and then into this orange area. Well, instead of redoing everything, we just held true to the past artists' fixes, in other words, and just fell in line with what they had done in restoration. So one of the things that I love about El Dorado, this particular Zuber, is not only the European nature of the landscape itself, but look how they use a really subtle, cool greens here in the background, and then down here in the foreground you got these really nice warm greens that just stick out with all this beautiful detail. And imagine, once again, all of these elements of different colors have to be individually carved out of wood, and then the paint applied and pressed in. And then come take a look at this over here. You've got this exact opposite. You've got, instead of cool tones in the background, you've got warm browns and warm greens in the background. And then juxtaposing it here in the foreground, you've got these cool gray greens that just come shooting forward in the foreground. And then to pop it off and accent it, you've got these beautiful flowers that just really lend an exotic feel to this panoramic landscape. It's just It's just one of my favorites, and I reference it many times in my own landscape painting, but to see it in real life up close, there's nothing